Oh, hello, and here we are again with another RR show. I'm Vince. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review, and please, as always, share these episodes with a friend, a family member. Just don't text your ex. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be a little bit different. We haven't done one of these in a while. We have got I guess you could say, a grab bag episode. But we're going to start with one from r/PettyRevenge. From user Conan Crafted. The bar begged us to stop. Okay, the title's a little clickbaity, but also true. Although begged might be a little over the top. A few years back, my brother and I were visiting our parents in our hometown. While we were there for the week, one of our good friends' little sister was turning 21 and invited us to come celebrate with them. It was the town over, so we drove out there to enjoy the festivities. I would word it like this because it wasn't some wild party, just some small group of friends, like 8 or so, and her parents. We were at her parents' house when her brother, our close friend, suggested we take her to her first bar visit. My brother and I drove separate as we were going to just stop in, buy a celebratory drink, and head out. It was about 10 p.m. and we had to get back. One note, my brother and I were not drinking at all, just hanging out. Really, that's what most of us were doing. We get to the bar and it's a small town, so small bar. They push some tables together. Our buddy's sister is excited. Her first time at a bar. So I go up to the bar and I order a round of shots for everyone, excluding my brother and I made sure to leave him like a 50% tip because it was a lot of drinks and everything and wanted to not annoy him. He gave me a serving tray with all the shots and I brought them to the table. As we were going to do a birthday toast, our buddy's sister said first we need to get drinks. So I went and got Red Bulls in the cans for my brother and I so we could toast later and then leave. We do the birthday toast and chat for a minute and then go to leave. My brother downed his Red Bull, so was going to grab another one, but forgot his wallet. I gave him mine to pay, and he goes up there. While I wait, I'm chatting with my buddy and his sister. The bartender comes up behind me and tells me to leave right now. I turn to my brother with a "what?" response. The dude holds up my ID and tells me my brother just tried to use it and he wants us to leave here now. I guess when my brother was getting another Red Bull for the road, he was driving and wanted to be awake. The bartender asked for his ID, which he didn't even think about since he wasn't drinking. So figured he would just show him mine since he didn't have his wallet. That didn't work, LOL. Now, a few things to note. I was 32, my brother 28, so way over the drinking age. My brother ordered a Red Bull and not alcohol, and it was 100% justified that the dude wanted to kick us out. I'm in no way upset about him kicking us out. It was the way he kicked us out. I told him sorry, and that's fair, and we'll take off. I turn to say goodbye to my friends, and he grabs my arm and says, "right now." Okay, not a fan of someone touching me, especially aggressively, when I agreed to leave and was not putting up any type of fuss. I jerked my arm away and I said, "Okay, dude." As we're walking away, he then yells, "Nope, no. I was at the door looking at him, no idea why he was yelling this at us. The Red Bull stays. What? I purchased this already, it's in a can. He yelled again, "Drop the can." By this time, it felt like this whole thing was becoming a scene. If he just came up and said, "Hey, you gotta leave," and said why, I would have no problem with it. I worked at a restaurant for 4 years, so I completely understand what these guys go through. But this guy was now just being a jerk. I stared at him for a second, then dropped the can in the trash and walked out. My brother was fuming. He is a big street justice kind of guy. We get in the car and he wants to slash tires or something. We didn't know this dude or have any idea what car he drives. He was just needing something. I told him I had an idea. We just need to head out. As we're driving back home, I take out my phone and make a Craigslist post. This was way before Facebook Marketplace, and it read something like this. Everything free. PS4, electric guitar, PSP, free. Description: I just found out my boyfriend cheated on me and am giving away all of his stuff. He's gone for the next few days, and I need everything gone ASAP. First come, first served. Free items are PlayStation 4, lots of games, electric guitar, black and suspended, that's all I know, Sony PSP and games, bunch of car stuff. If you see this posting, it means I still have it. Literally call me anytime, as I'm trying to get rid of this before he gets back. Insert bar phone number. I called first to confirm it was the bar, and that dude picked up. I hit post and then called my buddy that was still at the bar and told him what I did. He thought it was funny and said he would tell me if anyone called. Then, 10 minutes later, he started texting me. Dude, the phone keeps ringing. The bartender's getting pissed. He just said, "This is a bar." He updated me for an hour or so while he was there. Then I woke up to 3 emails from the bar. They went and found the post and kept messaging. "You put the wrong number on your post. Fix it. You need to fix this now. People keep calling me. We are reporting you." This went on for about 3 days before the post was finally removed. And then everyone stood up and clapped. LOL. All right, here we go. Another story from r/TIFU from Alkaline Arrow. TIFU by trusting my bank to listen to me and protect my money from scammers. So this wasn't actually today, but back in 2020 after I got married and had my first kid. In the summer of 2020, I was still in school and going into my senior year of college. I got married at the beginning of the year and had my first kid a few weeks prior to this incident. I was working as a delivery driver and trying to find another stream of income. I decided to start tutoring online. I was getting my tutoring service off the ground, and a man reached out to me to tutor his son over the course of a couple of months. I asked for payment up front and was being sent a specific type of check that's meant to be coming from an education savings account. This pinged my scam radar to start being careful. I checked with my dad about the legitimacy of this type of check for starters, and he confirmed that they're rare, but yeah, a real thing. This check was to the tune of $1,600, so I knew I had to be careful. Well, the check finally comes in the mail, and I deposit it into the bank. I start to plan the lessons for the first tutoring sessions. And then a few days later, I get a message from the dad saying his son has COVID and needs to cancel all the sessions and get his money back. Since I was prepared for this outcome, I call my bank, we'll call it Larvest. I get a hold of a representative and explain my suspicions of the check possibly being fraudulent. I explain that I want the refunds from the check withheld from my account until the check has 100% cleared. The rep confidently reassures me that the money will not show up in my account until the check has fully cleared. Over the course of the next 10 days, I'm being pestered by that dad to send him back the money. I tell him that I'm waiting for the check to clear and the money to be made available to provide the refund. Finally, after about 2 weeks from when I deposited the check, I see the money in my account. I figure this means that this wasn't a scam and there really is a poor kid that has COVID, and I send the money back to the dad. 2 days later, there's an additional $1,600 charge in my account. I call Larvest and they state, "Oh yeah, that check didn't clear. The account it was from didn't have sufficient funds." No matter what I said, I was told there was nothing they could do since the check was marked NSF. meaning non-sufficient funds. So I went and reported the charge as fraudulent and gave the investor everything I knew, including the information that I was told by the bank. The money wouldn't be deposited without the check clearing. Well, the call recording couldn't be found, and I was left on the hook for the full $1,600. I obviously no longer bank there, and will advise anyone that will listen to me not to bank with Larvest. Here we go on this grab bag episode, another story from r/neighbors from hell. From Fred's Red. Neighbor steals my mail, I get revenge. For the past few months, I've suspected that my upstairs neighbor has been stealing some of my mail. I buy a lot of things online, like books and craft supplies, and every now and then there's small things that were meant to arrive on a certain day and never did. One day, I caught her wandering around my front door, and I asked her what she was doing. "Oh, I was looking for something I think I dropped in your yard." I got surveillance cameras installed a while ago, which were not noticeable to my neighbors. The camera that's pointed at my front door isn't visible from the driveway. You can only see it if you're in my backyard. Here comes the trap. I purchased a few postage boxes and made up a few booby traps for her. The first was a glitter bomb. I set up the box to make sure that she would get glitter in the face as soon as she opened it. I packed it to make it look like a postage parcel, then sat it at my front door. 20 minutes later, I saw her walking to my front door. She looked around, picked up the box, walked away. My only regret is that I didn't get to see her reaction when she got a face full of glitter. I haven't noticed any other mail going missing after that, but she'll regret it if she does it again. The second trap will be much worse. From the ever so benevolent subreddit of r/Tales from Retail, Synthetic Turtle posted this one. Why does it say card only? It does, in 3 different places. This story is a few years old, as I no longer work in retail, but it is still one of my most satisfying stories. At the time of this story, I worked at a home improvement retail store. I was a cashier, and on this particular day, I was scheduled to run the self-checkout / assisted checkout, or the SCO or ACO. It went by both names. Now, for this to make sense, I have to describe the SCO machines. We had 4 SCO machines. On the left side, machines took cash and card. On the right side, they took card. The card-only machines said they were card-only in 3 different places. The first place was in the light on the SCO register. The second place was on the counter where you set your things in big letters. The third place is on the screen of the SCO machine before you start checking out. Despite the fact that there were so many things saying the machines were card-only SCO machines, it was very common for people to attempt to pay cash. Usually, I was able just to suspend the transaction and take them to a machine that took cash, so they wouldn't have to restart the transaction, and they would usually laugh at how they missed it being card-only. However, if this was one of the instances where they laughed the mistake off, I wouldn't be posting here. I had a man at one of our card-only SCO registers. I can't really remember what he looked like, but I believe he was in his 30s, and I was probably 19 or 20 at the time. I noticed him with some cash trying to find a place to put it in. He looks around, makes eye contact with me. I was already on my way over, so he started to ask me a question immediately. "Where do I put the cash?" "Oh, this is a card-only machine. I can suspend the transaction and take you over to the one that takes cash." "Well, why doesn't it say card-only then?" I stopped smiling and just decided to be blunt because his inability to pay attention was not my fault. And I said, it does. Right here, and I point to the counter. Up there points the SCO light. And it says on the screen before you start checking out. The man was silent for the rest of the time. He didn't say another word. He didn't apologize. Didn't thank me. Nothing. He was just silent as I suspended his transaction and took him to the cash machine so he could finish up. I honestly don't care that he didn't apologize for his rudeness. It was satisfying to embarrass him into silence. I'd like to think he learned his lesson to pay attention and not to blame others for his mistakes, but that's probably wishful thinking. Alrighty, here we go. From r/TIFU, another story from user Milbert. TIFU by accidentally taking more than weed in my edibles. So, I'm a college student and pretty experienced stoner, so getting high is nothing out of the ordinary for me. My best friend and I, at the end of this week, decided to catch up and take some edibles. I was feeling adventurous, however, and plucked up the courage to take these 50 milligram sativa gummies my friend had given me about a year ago. My friend just took 12.5 milligrams of what we usually take. The gummy in my hand was easily the size of a scallop. We eat them and continue joking just like everything is fine. The edible starts to hit, and we get more giggly and start snacking. We are just talking about things going on and the people around us, and we are both laying on my rug. I start staring at the white dorm brick wall, and I'm seeing faces and shapes and patterns in it. This is when I start to think to myself, I wonder what was in that edible. I don't want to freak out my friends, so I kept it to myself. I now realize I have to use the bathroom, but in my dorm, it's down the hall, a distance that seems impossible in this state. My world is spinning. I can barely stand upright, let alone walk in a straight line, but somehow I find myself sitting on the toilet. The sounds of other people getting ready for bed or being drunk and puking in the surrounding stalls didn't help at all. So I do my business, and suddenly my world is like VR. The walls appear to be breathing around me, my heart is racing, and I can't stop shaking. I have Tourette's syndrome, and weed is usually the thing that helps me, but now I'm absolutely terrified. I am now swaying on the toilet, thinking about my options. Do I either text my friend, my boyfriend, my parents, my RA? I'm lost, but start to have some pretty disturbing thoughts as I waxed and waned out of reality. How stupid I am. Wasted my entire career in my life because of one stupid choice. I'm never going to make something of myself because I'm going to die in this dorm room toilet. I wonder if anyone would care if I died, my eyes open and closed as I would jerk awake again. I thought I was going to die. But there are two things I 100% knew. If I was going to die, it wasn't going to be on the toilet, and I would at least try to get some help. So I text my friend and my boyfriend. My friend fell asleep, but my boyfriend is up and on his way over. At this point, I've been on the toilet for an hour. Slight problem, my boyfriend can't get in the girls' bathroom or swipe into my building after hours. Somehow I stand, pull my pants up. At this point, there's no one else in the bathroom. I'm looking at little moving pictures in the weird tile, and I think I have the balance to make my way back to my room. I stumble my ass to my room, which felt like miles. If anyone saw me there was sure going to be some type of police or medical intervention. I get to my room, my friend wakes up. I tell her how to call out of work for me on my computer and fall asleep. While I slept, my friend traded places with my boyfriend who slept on the floor to make sure I was okay. I saw him for a second before he had to go to class this morning. I write this for you now, still kind of high, no longer tripping, having slept in to 4 p.m., and I still have a paper to write for school. I am just lucky it wasn't laced with anything worse. and I have friends in my life willing to take care of me after I do some stupid stuff like that. I still don't know what was actually in that edible. I have another identical one, but I don't know how to even find out. I've never taken psychedelics before, but that's what I imagine a bad trip would be like. From r/PettyRevenge, and the user actually asked us to leave their name out of it, so we will respect that. Scared my old bully at Screamfest. So it's not great, but it felt pretty satisfying at the time. In my old school, I was called a psycho. There was a group of boys that would torment me for everything. It made my school life feel like hell. In September, I started college and largely forgot about the boys that tormented me. I do a performing arts course, and we had to get some work experience in this area. I went through all the workshops for Screamfest and ended up working there for Halloween. It was an incredible experience, and I'll be working there again this year. So anyway, I've been working there for around 3 weeks, and on this particular day, I was in an attraction called Creed Farm. Part of this attraction was a maze of scarecrows, which people are dressed up and covered in straw, so people would not suspect them. I was a blood-covered cannibal. Due to the fake cuts and blood, you couldn't really tell it was me. I was around 3 hours in, and one of the boys that tormented me from high school was walking through my attraction with his friends. I instantly recognized him, and I was the person that would be scaring that group. I scared the life out of him like I was meant to, but that's not the satisfying bit. I called out his name. He didn't recognize me and started stuttering and asking his friends if I overheard them call him so I'd know his name. I then shouted out his last name, to which he got a very frightened reaction. He and all his friends were very creeped out, but then he recognized me, and he said, "Oh, hi," my name. He then proceeded to tell his friends that we went to high school together, and he was talking about how psychotic I am and how I'm crazy. So I started laughing crazily, as my character, and started singing "You Missed the Psycho. The Psycho's after you." I then chased him, still in my character, so I wasn't breaking any rules. I hadn't broken out of my character at all through the entire interaction, and I chased him through the maze. He started screaming like a little girl, and his mates were laughing at him. I chased him out of the maze, and he never came back in. Haven't heard from him since. So thanks for being with us. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, please follow or subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling extra nice, you might as well leave a 5-star review. But for more, visit the website, rrshow.com. That is rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince. Thank you to my producer, Kevin, and we'll see you next time here on The RR Show.